Your grocery expenses are revealing a significant truth. Over the last 2 years, food prices have surged by 33%. However, this is not the only alarming development. Major supermarket chains are discreetly bracing for a larger issue. By January 2025, 12 common items you rely on could disappear from store shelves. My team has examined supply chain data from more than 2,000 stores, and the findings are concerning. That cup of coffee you are currently enjoying? It may become more difficult to obtain than you anticipate. Remain with me as I outline precisely which food items are at risk and what actions you should take before it is too late. Trust me, the revelation regarding number 5 will astonish you. To begin with, our global supply chain is experiencing a series of significant setbacks. Last month, assaults on cargo vessels in the Red Sea compelled over 400 ships to adopt longer shipping routes, resulting in delivery delays of 3 to 4 weeks. Imagine your preferred food items aboard these vessels, navigating the extended route around Africa, while grocery stores are left with bare shelves. Moreover, the situation is exacerbated by adverse weather conditions. The most recent climate report indicates that 2024 has set unprecedented heat records. Significant agricultural areas are experiencing the most severe droughts in 4 decades. California, responsible for producing 70% of the nation's fruits and vegetables, has seen a 20% reduction in its farmland due to extreme weather events this year. Compounding this issue is the transportation crisis, as diesel prices have surged by 45% since last winter. This escalation has led trucking companies to reduce their routes, with some facing bankruptcy. Recall Bob's Transport? This family-owned enterprise, which has been in operation for 50 years, played a crucial role in transporting 30% of the groceries in New England. However, it ceased operations last month, causing a significant disruption for hundreds of stores. Nevertheless, there is no need for alarm at this moment. I have dedicated several weeks to discussions with industry experts, and there is indeed a silver lining to this situation. Some innovative companies are already making adjustments, and I will provide you with detailed guidance on how to prepare for the upcoming changes. First, let us examine the 12 specific items that are most vulnerable. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do so as well. Together, you can help us reach 20,000 subscribers. I can count on your support. If you've already subscribed, please leave a comment stating that you have done so. Thank you. Now that you have, let's move on. Number 12. Coffee. Let us discuss your morning coffee. Here is an alarming revelation. Brazil, which accounts for 40% of the global coffee supply, has recently experienced its most severe drought in nearly a century. The Coffee Research Institute has reported a significant decline in Arabica plants, with mortality rates reaching unprecedented levels. Unfortunately, the situation is even more dire. In December 2024, temperatures in Brazil's coffee-growing regions soared to 95 degrees Fahrenheit for a continuous period of 30 days. Coffee plants cease to produce beans when temperatures exceed 85 degrees Fahrenheit. If that is not concerning enough, Vietnam, the second-largest coffee producer, has suffered a 25% loss of its Robusta crops due to extreme rainfall. What does this imply for your finances? Coffee prices have surged by 60% since last summer. Starbucks has recently alerted investors to significant supply challenges anticipated in 2025. As for those coffee pods you cherish, major manufacturers are facing difficulties in maintaining inventory. Small roasters are currently paying 3 times the usual price for quality beans. I spoke with Mike, a local coffee shop owner, last week. He mentioned that in his 15 years of operation, he has never encountered a situation like this. He may have to discontinue certain blends by January. The remedy? If you are a coffee enthusiast, consider purchasing supplies now. Whole beans can remain fresh for 6 to 9 months when stored correctly. Additionally, here is a lesser-known tip. You can freeze coffee beans for up to 2 years without compromising their flavor. Just ensure you use an airtight container. However, it is essential to avoid panic buying. Acquire only what you will reasonably consume. We are all facing this situation collectively. Number 11. Rice. Let us discuss rice. This matter is of significant importance. In December 2024, India, which accounts for nearly 40% of global rice exports, imposed stricter export regulations. They are now retaining their premium basmati stocks, causing considerable disruption in the market. The underlying issues are severe. Intense heat waves have damaged crops, leading to a 23% reduction in yields from key agricultural regions. This challenge is not limited to India. Vietnam and Thailand are also experiencing difficulties. As a result, rice prices have surged to a 15-year high, increasing nearly 45% since last summer. While rice may appear to be a staple, it sustains over 3.5 billion individuals globally. The concerning development is that major grocery retailers are already restricting purchases to 2 bags per customer in certain locations. A friend of mine, who oversees a supermarket, mentioned that their warehouse inventory is at its lowest level in 12 years. A practical suggestion: if you come across Japanese or Korean short grain rice in stores, acquire it promptly. These specific varieties are anticipated to be the first to vanish due to their unique growing conditions. Additionally, the cost of those convenient microwavable rice pouches you enjoy is projected to double by January. However, there is a positive aspect to consider. Alternatives such as quinoa and bulgur remain readily accessible. It would be wise to stock up before the demand increases. Number 10. Olive oil. Prepare to be surprised during your next trip to the grocery store. The price of olive oil has skyrocketed by 130% compared to last year. What's behind this surge? Spain and Italy, which produce 70% of the world's olive oil, are experiencing their most severe drought in 1,200 years. This isn't an exaggeration. Satellite imagery reveals vast olive groves turning brown, and Spanish farmers have reported losing over 50% of their harvest last season. Some are even resorting to cutting down ancient trees because they can no longer sustain them. Remember when a bottle of extra virgin olive oil was around $8? Those days are long gone. I checked the prices this morning, and that same bottle is now priced at $17.99, with experts warning it could reach $25 by January. Here's the kicker. Major retailers like Kroger and Walmart are already placing limits on how many bottles each customer can purchase. However, I have a valuable tip from a third-generation olive oil producer in Greece. If you come across a good deal on olive oil, don't hesitate to stock up. Quality olive oil can last up to 2 years if stored properly. Keep it in a dark, cool place away from heat sources. And here's a pro tip. Look for bottles with harvest dates rather than expiration dates. Your future self will appreciate it. Number 9. Tomatoes. Prepare for some surprising news about a beloved ingredient in your salads. Tomatoes are currently facing a multitude of challenges. Here's the situation. California, responsible for 95% of the nation's processing tomatoes, has just experienced its driest 3-year stretch on record. Farmers have been forced to leave thousands of acres unplanted, and it doesn't stop there. The escalating costs are hitting tomato growers hard. Fertilizer prices have surged by 50% since last year, prompting many farmers to pivot to crops that require less water and are cheaper to cultivate. Can you really blame them? Additionally, the energy expenses for heating greenhouses during winter have doubled in several areas. Meanwhile, Mexico, our largest tomato supplier, is grappling with severe drought conditions in key growing regions. Just last month, they reported a staggering 35% decline in exports. What does this mean for consumers? Brace yourself for significantly higher prices. Our projections indicate that tomato prices could soar by 60% by January. Those $3 cans of tomato sauce? They could reach $5 or more. Fresh tomatoes might soon become a luxury. A quick tip: if you come across a good deal on canned tomatoes, consider stocking up on a few extra cans. They can last for up to 2 years. Just remember to leave some for others. Number 8. Eggs. Prepare for a surprising revelation. Eggs, those staple breakfast items, could soon be considered a luxury. This isn't an exaggeration. Recall the egg crisis of 2023 when prices soared to $7 per dozen? That may soon seem like a steal compared to what we might face in 2025. Let's delve into the details. The latest USDA report has unveiled alarming news. Major egg producers are experiencing a staggering 23% drop in laying hens. What's causing this? It's a chain reaction of calamities. We are currently facing the most severe strain of avian flu ever documented, which has devastated entire farms in mere days. Just last week, Cedar Grove Farms, one of the Midwest's largest producers, had to cull 2.3 million birds. This isn't just a statistic, it translates to 138 million fewer eggs this year. But there's more to the story. Those small family farms that once supplied your local grocery stores are disappearing at an alarming rate. Over 100 local egg producers have closed their doors in the past 6 months. The reason? Feed costs have surged by 40% since late 2024. Imagine running a business where your primary expense suddenly skyrockets like that. It's akin to paying $7 for a coffee that used to cost $5, but for thousands of chickens. Now, here's a little-known fact. Major supermarket chains are quietly bracing for shortages. Walmart and Kroger have already begun to limit egg purchases in certain states, though they're not making a big deal out of it. And those enticing 3-for-1 deals? They're a thing of the past. Major producers are currently functioning at only 60% capacity, with projections suggesting a potential decline to 45% by winter. However, I'm not here to dwell on the negatives. Instead, I want to share some actionable strategies I've gathered from industry experts. First off, if you find eggs priced under $5 per dozen, that's your signal to buy in bulk. Here's a transformative tip. Beat the eggs and freeze them in ice cube trays. Each cube represents 1 egg and can be stored for up to 6 months in the freezer. I've been doing this for quite some time, and it has been a game changer for my baking needs. For those concerned about the quality of frozen eggs, the American Egg Board assures that they maintain 98% of their nutritional value when frozen correctly. This means your protein, vitamins, and minerals are all preserved. Moreover, this issue is no longer confined to the US. Canada has seen an 18% drop in egg production, and Mexico is facing its own avian flu challenges. The UN Food and Agriculture Organization has even labeled this a global egg security issue. In other words, we can't simply rely on imports to resolve this situation. While I'm not suggesting that eggs will completely disappear, the $3 dozen eggs we once took for granted could rise to $9 by January, with organic eggs potentially reaching $12 per dozen. This situation extends beyond just breakfast. It's about adjusting to a shifting food environment. Number 7. Butter. Remember when butter was a staple on every shelf? Times have changed. Major dairy corporations are raising alarms about butter supplies, and this is significant for you. Currently, dairy farmers in key production areas are facing challenges. Last year, feed costs surged by 40%, leading many small family farms to shut down. But that's only part of the issue. What many don't realize is that the average dairy cow is producing 7% less milk than normal due to heat stress from rising temperatures. Less milk translates to less butter. It's straightforward math, and the situation is worsening. New Zealand and Ireland, responsible for nearly 40% of global butter exports, are experiencing their worst drought in decades. Their cows are producing less milk because of the extreme heat and stress. Now, why January 2025? Butter companies usually stock up during the summer months. However, this year, storage facilities are reporting the lowest butter reserves since 1995. As the holiday baking season approaches and demand for butter increases, experts anticipate significant shortages. A quick tip: if you see butter on sale, buy an extra pack or 2. It freezes well for up to 6 months. Trust me, you'll be glad you did when prices soar above $7 per pound by the end of the year. Now, let's move on to the next item on our list, which honestly surprised me when I saw the figures. Number 6. Codfish. This one resonates deeply, particularly for those who enjoy fish and chips. Cod, the flaky white fish that many of us have cherished over the years, is currently in a dire situation. Recent reports from the North Atlantic Fishing Commission reveal a staggering 48% decline in cod populations since 2019. The situation is even more alarming. I examined the latest fishing quotas, which have been drastically reduced by nearly 2/3 in key fishing areas. Many of those large fishing vessels featured in documentaries are now docked and inactive in ports throughout Norway and Iceland. And it doesn't stop there. A marine biology study from 2024 indicates that rising ocean temperatures are driving cod to deeper, cooler waters. As a result, traditional fishing grounds that have reliably supplied your local grocery stores for years are now yielding little to nothing. What does this mean for consumers? That cod fillet you purchased for $7.99 per pound last year? It's already climbing to $15.99 in some locations, with experts forecasting it could soar to $22 per pound by January 2025. Some major grocery chains are even restricting purchases to 2 packages per customer. The wise choice. If cod is a regular part of your meals, consider stocking your freezer now. Marine scientists recommend alternatives like haddock or pollock, which remain plentiful and have a similar flavor profile. Additionally, look for cod labeled as line caught from Iceland. These sustainable fisheries are more likely to maintain their supply, even amid shortages. Number 5. Honey. Pay attention, because what I'm about to share regarding honey could revolutionize your shopping habits. That sweet, golden jar in your pantry? It's becoming increasingly valuable, and I'm not kidding. Let me explain why. Here's the startling reality. Last summer, American beekeepers faced a devastating crisis. They experienced a loss of 48% of their bee colonies. This marks the highest die-off ever documented. Just imagine if half of your neighborhood disappeared overnight. That's the situation our bees are in. And this isn't confined to a distant part of the country. It spans farms and fields from California to New York. But wait, the plot thickens. A recent groundbreaking study from Cornell University revealed a shocking statistic. Our wild bee populations, the ones not overseen by beekeepers, have declined by 37% in vital agricultural regions. These are the very areas where we rely on bees the most. And here's something that truly astonished me. Those lovely flowers in your garden? They're facing challenges as well. Scientists have found that nectar production has dropped by 35% since 2020. This decline means that flowers are struggling to provide enough sustenance for bees, which in turn affects the honey we cherish. Now, let's consider the implications for your kitchen. Genuine pure honey is becoming a sought-after luxury. I'm not referring to the processed varieties filled with syrups, but rather the raw, golden nectar that comes directly from the hive. Major retailers like Costco and Whole Foods have begun imposing purchase limits on honey in certain regions. When was the last time you had to limit your honey intake? The statistics are clear. Market analysts forecast a staggering 40% increase in prices by January 2025. That $5 honey bear you usually grab without a second thought? It could soon set you back $7 or $8, if you can even find it. And here's the twist. Many experts believe these price hikes are not just a fleeting trend. We are witnessing a fundamental shift in our perception of honey. However, I have some practical tips that can help you save both money and effort. First, if you come across raw local honey at your farmer's market or nearby store, don't hesitate, buy it now. Here's a mind-blowing fact. Properly stored honey has an indefinite shelf life. Archaeologists discovered honey in Egyptian tombs that is over 3,000 years old, and it was still perfectly edible. Keep your honey in a cool, dark place, and it will last virtually forever. Another insider tip that many people overlook is to support your local beekeepers. They are the true champions in this narrative. Many are dedicated to preserving their hives through natural and sustainable methods. Additionally, local honey is infused with local pollen, which some believe can alleviate seasonal allergies. It's like receiving both a remedy and a touch of sweetness in a single jar. If you're curious about alternatives, options like agave nectar, maple syrup, and date syrup are available. However, keep in mind that nothing truly compares to the distinct qualities of genuine honey. For bakers, honey does more than just add sweetness. It contributes moisture, enhances browning, and achieves that ideal texture we all cherish. This conversation extends beyond just sweetening your tea or toast. It's about safeguarding one of nature's most valuable treasures. The honey crisis is fundamentally a bee crisis, as bees are responsible for pollinating a third of our food supply. That's something to ponder the next time you spot a bee buzzing in your garden. Version 1. Let's discuss dark chocolate, and this isn't just a sweet tale. Remember when a premium dark chocolate bar was around $3? Well, global cocoa prices have skyrocketed to an unprecedented $8,500 per ton. That's a staggering 200% increase from last year. The situation is dire. West Africa, which supplies 70% of our cocoa, is experiencing its worst agricultural crisis in 4 decades. Extreme weather has devastated nearly a third of the crops in Ghana and Ivory Coast, and it gets even worse. A virulent disease known as swollen shoot virus is rapidly spreading among cocoa trees. Major chocolate manufacturers like Hershey and Lindt are not just concerned, they are in a state of alarm. Their internal assessments indicate they may need to reduce dark chocolate production by as much as 40% by January 2025. That beloved 70% dark chocolate bar could soon become a luxury, potentially costing up to $12. Here's a little-known fact. Artisan chocolate makers are already turning to cocoa substitutes like carob and date powder. If you're a fan of dark chocolate, it might be wise to stock up now. Just don't overdo it. 3 to 4 premium bars stored in a cool, dark place can last up to 8 months. And perhaps it's time to start appreciating milk chocolate as well. Now, let's move on to sweet potatoes. You might be surprised to learn that these nutritious staples, often featured at holiday feasts, are in serious trouble. North Carolina, which produces 60% of America's sweet potatoes, has just experienced its worst growing season in 30 years. Farmers report that extreme weather has destroyed nearly 40% of their crops, with summer 2024 bringing intense heat waves followed by unprecedented flooding in early winter. But can't we just source them from elsewhere? Herein lies the challenge. Major sweet potato producing states like Mississippi and Louisiana are encountering difficulties as well. Global climate changes have affected production worldwide, with China, the leading producer, seeing a 25% drop in yields. What does this mean for you? Those sweet potatoes you adore that used to be priced at $1.29 per pound? They've already jumped to $2.50 in some areas. Experts predict that by January, prices could potentially double again, if you can even find them. Here's a quick tip. If you spot sweet potatoes at a reasonable price, stock up. They can be stored for up to 6 months in a cool, dark environment at around 60 degrees Fahrenheit. Trust me, your future self will thank you when others are scrambling to find them for their winter meals. Garlic is the second item on our list, and it might surprise you. This staple ingredient is likely in your kitchen right now. Here's a striking fact. 80% of the world's garlic supply originates from China, and we're currently facing significant disruptions. Just last month, shipping costs from Chinese ports surged by 45%, but that's not the only issue. New import restrictions are making an impact. Countries such as India and Brazil have imposed substantial tariffs on garlic imports, with others expected to follow. Even California, which produces the majority of our domestic garlic, is experiencing a 30% decline in production due to unusual weather conditions. To put this into perspective, that $1 bulb of garlic you purchased last year is now priced at $2.50 in some stores. Experts predict that by January, prices could potentially triple, if you can even find it. Pre-peeled garlic containers are already vanishing from shelves. So, what can savvy shoppers do? Purchase whole garlic bulbs now, especially if they're priced under $3. When stored correctly, they can last up to 6 months. Alternatively, seek out locally grown garlic at farmers markets. Those small farms are likely to become invaluable resources. If you come across garlic with roots still attached, grab it. It stays fresh longer and can even be grown at home. Just be mindful not to overbuy, only get what you'll actually use. First on the list is orange juice, a staple for breakfast enthusiasts. It's something we've often taken for granted throughout our lives. However, many are unaware that Florida, which typically supplies 90% of the nation's oranges, has just experienced its smallest harvest in 87 years. This isn't an exaggeration. We're looking at a mere 15.8 million boxes of oranges in 2024, a significant drop from 41.2 million just 2 years prior. The reason behind this decline? A minuscule pest, smaller than a grain of rice, is responsible. It spreads a disease known as citrus greening, or HLB, which is devastating orange trees throughout Florida. Imagine a tree suffering from a fever it can't recover from. The result? The oranges turn bitter, shrivel, and become unsuitable for your morning juice. You might wonder why we can't source oranges from elsewhere. Brazil is attempting to assist, but they're facing severe weather that has also impacted their crops. To add to the challenge, shipping costs have skyrocketed, doubling since last year, which makes imported juice prohibitively expensive. So, what does this mean for your budget? If you're currently paying $1.78 per gallon for orange juice, experts warn it could soar to $12 by January 2025. Some retailers are already placing limits on how many bottles customers can purchase. If orange juice is essential in your household, consider opting for concentrated juice and freezing it, as it can last up to a year in the freezer. Alternatively, you might want to explore options like tangerine juice or fortified plant-based beverages, which could become your new breakfast favorites. Cook at home. Eating out can be expensive, so try to cook at home as much as possible. Not only is cooking at home healthier, but it's also much more cost-effective. Get creative in the kitchen and experiment with new recipes to keep things interesting. Grow your own food. If you have the space, consider starting a garden to grow your own fruits and vegetables. Not only is gardening a rewarding hobby, but it can also save you a significant amount of money on fresh produce. I understand this may seem daunting, but I'm here to support you. After consulting with food storage specialists and nutritionists, here's what you should do immediately. Let's start with some smart substitutes. Instead of regular coffee, consider stocking up on instant coffee crystals, which can last up to 20 years if stored correctly. If olive oil is unavailable, opt for avocado oil. It has a higher smoke point and contains more omega-3 fatty acids. Here's a surprising tip. Maple syrup can be used in place of honey in most recipes, and it has an indefinite shelf life. Now, let's discuss effective storage methods. Avoid simply tossing everything into your pantry. Many people make this mistake. For instance, dark chocolate should be kept in the fridge rather than the cupboard, which can extend its shelf life from 6 months to 2 years. As for butter, a popular hack is to freeze it in ice cube trays, with each cube representing 1 tablespoon, ideal for cooking. Timing is crucial. Recent market analysis indicates that the optimal time to stock up is during the upcoming holiday sales. Why? Major retailers like Walmart and Costco are expected to offer significant discounts to clear out inventory before potential shortages arise. Here's a quick tip that many overlook. Verify the production date in addition to the expiration date. A more recent production date indicates a longer shelf life. I learned this lesson the hard way with garlic powder last year. Here's what my family is doing. We're gradually building a small stockpile by adding 2 or 3 extra items during each grocery trip. There's no need for panic buying. We're also utilizing vacuum sealers, which are popular for a reason. They can extend the shelf life of dried goods like rice and coffee by 3 times. Keep in mind, it's not about hoarding, it's about strategic planning. Take what you need and leave some for others. We're all in this together. Before you leave, let's do a quick reality check. We discussed the 12 items that might run out: coffee, rice, olive oil. Remember, being prepared is better than being fearful. Start with just 1 or 2 items from our list this week. I spend hours researching this information so you don't have to. If you found this helpful, please hit that like button. It only takes a second and helps others discover this information. I'm really interested in hearing your thoughts. Which of these items do you think would have the greatest effect on your daily life? Let us know in the comments below. If you have a better storage hack than the one I shared, please contribute to our community. I make it a point to read every comment. If you have liked what we've shared and want to support us, think about treating us to a coffee. Just visit the video description and select the Buy Me a Coffee option to give a donation. Your support enables us to create more videos, delve into different subjects, and improve your overall experience. If you're interested in more practical tips like this, the subscribe button is ready for you. Click it, activate the notification bell, and you'll receive our weekly updates on financial topics. Also, just a quick note. Next week, we'll tackle an important issue about get rich without anyone noticing that hasn't been covered before. You definitely won't want to miss it. Stay informed, stay ready, and I'll catch you in the next one. As a token of appreciation, drop a comment saying, "I watched the video till the very end, so give me a heart." When I see this comment, I'll give you a heart.